Welcome to Elevate with Carolina, where we talk about life, healing, and everything in between. I worked on this book for a couple of years, and I wrote it, rewrote it, packaged it together in different manners, different ways, and I decided to offer it for free on my website as an introduction to the work I do with Elevate, and because I really believe it all starts with self-love. It's a short book meant to ignite your journey and to really give you results in a way that can accommodate your busy schedule. I had considered packaging it in an audio version, and when I started my podcast, I thought, why not create a series where I can share each chapter with the listeners and hopefully even hear back from you with your experience. So without further ado, here is the self-love journey. Introduction. What is self-love to you? I have asked many people this question, and I can often spot a lack of self-love when I hear discomfort in their answer. When someone has placed self-love in the category of things we don't talk about, it becomes a mystical concept out there, as if everyone else can achieve it, but we can't seem to grasp it fully. Or worse, it becomes something we tell ourselves not to worry about because there are more pressing matters to invest time in. That list is endless, ranging from busy schedules between kids' sports, practices, and recitals, grocery lists, work deadlines, the latest war, and social injustices, to news headlines that paralyze anyone with half a heart. I see self-love as drinking water when you're thirsty. When we are thirsty, we cannot quench that thirst by asking someone else to pour water on us. We cannot get in line at a store and expect to be hosed down with water and believe our thirst will go away. We must seek the nearest source of water and drink it. That is self-love. No one else can do it for you, and no one else ever will. If you keep searching for relief in others, expecting them to satisfy the thirst only you can quench, you will continue drowning in the pools and hoses of life, not understanding why you are still thirsty. There is no special date or holiday on the calendar marked self-love. It doesn't arrive with cake, flowers, or gifts. It usually shows up when life whispers or shouts, "Stop. This isn't working anymore." But let's be honest, self-love probably wasn't what brought you here. Not exactly. Sometimes it takes a breakup, a breakdown, loss, grief, or a quiet realization that despite giving so much to others, you still feel empty inside. Perhaps you're tired of repeating the same patterns in relationships, at work, and in your own thoughts. Or maybe you've simply had enough of being at war with yourself. Whatever brought you here, welcome. After having gone on my own hero's journey through the valleys of self-loathing and doubt and up the hills of struggle, I found the way back to myself, where the answers had always been. Simple keys were shown to me that helped unlock a flow of love, and that's the map I'm excited to share with you. You can adapt it and make it your own. My goal is to shorten your learning curve, even if just a little, so you can enjoy the flow of abundance longer and gift the world the kind of love that only comes from an overflowing, steamy cup of self-love. As much as warmth and comfort can soothe the heart, pain is often a catalyst for growth. And despite how much we resist it, it frequently teaches us what comfort cannot. In my life, divorce, heartbreak, falling face down, getting back up, dusting off, and stumbling again have all been threads in the tapestry of my story. In hindsight, those threads added depth, dimension, and color, though I could not see it at the time. We all have moments that bring us to our knees, times of loss, heartbreak, and transition. They may look different for each one of us, but they carry the same message. Something has to change. However, it's not really about changing so much as about returning within, because self-love is our built-in default setting. Think of a baby, perfect, worthy, loved just as they are. Somewhere along the way, that baby grows up and forgets their inherent worth, partially because forgetting sells. If you believed fully in your worth, how many products would you need to buy? Not many. That's why marketing thrives on self-doubt. It convinces us we are broken, when in reality we never were. There is no need for the next pill, the product, or the miracle cure. You don't need anything outside of yourself to make you worthy of love. You are already whole and deserving of love exactly as you are. And if these words make you cringe or stir up resistance, that's just the programming ringing its alarm, telling old stories of lack and worthlessness. If you stick around, by the end of this short book, which in this podcast I'm going to post in chapters, you will feel the spark of self-love ignite from within. You will have begun to embody your worthiness, reconnect with your core, remember the gifts that have always been inside you, and your relationship with yourself will start to feel lighter and more joyful, thus reflecting its light onto the other areas of your life. Let these 7 steps be a reminder of the power and beauty you carry. Think of them as guideposts, simple practices to help you return to yourself, one step at a time. Self-love isn't about becoming someone new. It's about coming home to who you already are. Like a traveler who has been away from home for a long time and returns only to realize how much beauty and how many reasons to be grateful there are right where they began. You are one of a kind, with your unique experiences, voice, and perspective. There has never been another you, and there never will be. That makes you priceless. You are a gift from the universe to us all. As a disclaimer of tone, throughout this book, you'll see me use words like God, life, universe, all there is, source, singularity. To me, they all point to the same energy. I invite you to read it, or in this case, listen to it, through a wide lens, rather than through the lens of dogma or religion. Self-love is universal to humanity and should always unite us, not divide us. So take what resonates, set aside what doesn't, and let this journey meet you exactly where you are. Chapter 1. You will encounter resistance. As you begin your journey toward self-love, one thing is sure: you will encounter resistance. Whether it is from the people around you or even from within yourself, the discomfort that comes from change is inevitable. This resistance does not mean you are on the wrong path. In fact, it often means the opposite. Growth and transformation unsettle those who are attached to familiarity, whether it is people in your life or yourself. So if you encounter internal or external resistance, it means you're on the right path, the path of growth. When I wrote this chapter, I was in Iceland, and it reads, I am currently in Iceland, a gorgeous country full of natural beauty that offers explorers, photographers, and nature lovers an array of visually abundant landscapes. Today is day 10 of 15, and I have learned that despite not knowing exactly where I'm going, I have to pack my backpack with supplies, water, a salty snack, and layers of clothing. The weather here is predictably unpredictable, and all 4 seasons can occur within 24 hours. Thus, I prepare. This step is about preparing for the journey. We are preparing for what lies ahead as you set out at your self-love remembrance path. You will need an understanding of your process, a clear set of boundaries for the outside world that does not yet operate in a self-love prioritization mode, and patience, especially with yourself. You will learn how to recognize what resistance feels like, understand its source, and navigate through it as you go on your journey back to self. One of the challenges you may face on your way to self-love is outside resistance, as in the crab in the net effect. It is known that when crabs are caught in a fishing net, if one tries to escape, the others instinctively pull it back down. As a result, none of the crabs manage to free themselves. In life, this can show up when people around you unconsciously try to hold you back as you begin to rise. Perhaps they see you becoming more confident and stepping into your self-worth, which makes them uncomfortable. They may fear change or struggle with their own sense of inadequacy. So they project their insecurities onto you, trying to pull you back to a more familiar place. Sometimes this comes from well-meaning loved ones who, despite their best intentions, are still struggling with their own self-love. You may have experienced this in the form of subtle comments such as, "You have changed," or I don't recognize you anymore. It's not malice, but it is still a pull toward self-doubt, back into the net of comfort and predictability. It takes discipline and clarity of heart to resist being pulled back. You have to recognize when others are holding you back and understand that their discomfort is about them, not you. You deserve to rise into your full potential, no matter how unsettling it might be for those who are not yet ready for change. However, sometimes the resistance comes from within. After outer resistance shows up at your door, you will notice something else emerging alongside it, the inner voice. This voice can feel like a constant companion, sometimes protective, sometimes discouraging, sometimes quietly wise. It is not a single voice, though. Inside every one are two forces, the ego and the higher self. The ego is shaped by past experiences, conditioning, survival strategies, and the need to stay safe. It speaks in fear, caution, comparison, and hesitation, keeping you close to what is familiar. The higher self is the voice of your inner knowing, your intuition, the God particle part of you that remembers who you truly are. It speaks in warmth, clarity, quiet confidence, and possibility. The ego speaks loudly because it is afraid. The higher self speaks softly because it is sure. Both voices are present within you, but the one you choose to listen will determine the direction and speed of your journey. There is a story often attributed to the Cherokee tradition that expresses this inner dynamic. A grandfather tells his grandson that inside every person there are two wolves. One wolf is rooted in fear, anger, doubt, and the instinct to protect. The other wolf is rooted in love, compassion, peace, and the desire to grow. The grandson thinks for a moment before asking, "Which wolf wins?" The grandfather replies, "The one you feed." The pattern we reinforce, the thoughts we return to, and the beliefs we nurture become the ones that guide our lives. I have let my ego speak louder than it should many times. Let's go back to 2007, when I opened my first business, a dance school. Needless to say, 2008 was a rough year for small businesses, and it bled into 2009 and 2010. For a tiny dance studio in a town of just 1,200 people, the fact that we survived at all feels nothing short of a miracle. But the story I want to share is not about survival. It is about my own resistance and how it nearly cost me everything. I was at a dance teacher convention in 2010. Exhausted, discouraged, and desperately searching for answers. My business felt like it had stalled at the launch pad for 3 years without a proper liftoff, and so had my spirit. We sat at a circle, many dance studio owners around a table, sharing ideas, and I remember feeling like I did not belong, like I had somehow failed by not already knowing the solutions I was looking for. Then the universe did something wild. It placed a jazz hands, happy, sparkly, magnetic woman next to me. She lit up the room as she spoke, sharing her vision for an organization of dance studio owners that would revolutionize the industry. Her energy was contagious. Her clarity was inspiring. And deep down, I knew this was the answer I had been praying for. But what did I do? I left. I did not introduce myself. I did not lean in. I did not follow up. I walked away, bitter, sad, and consumed by my own frustration. I had been asking God for help, and when she sat right next to me, I was too blinded by my own self-pity to see it. That is what resistance does. It keeps us locked in the familiar, even when the familiar is painful. It makes us doubt the very answers we have been seeking. Fast forward 5 years, one divorce later, many tears, and hard-knuckling it through life, the version of me that was finally willing to say yes to discomfort spoke louder than the doubt. I joined her organization, and I never looked back. For my business, it was the best investment I had ever made. But more importantly, the personal development that came from years surrounded by high-achieving, heart-centered individuals changed everything. That same group got me through 2020 without having to shut my doors. They reminded me of what was possible. They inspired me to rise. They held space for my expansion. And it all began the moment I stopped resisting and said yes to growth. You will never regret investing in yourself. You can lose money, time, or relationships, but no one can ever take your growth away from you. So if you are standing on the edge of something that feels new, uncomfortable, or uncertain, lean in. The answers you have been waiting for are already within you. Keep going. This part of the book comes with journal prompts. You can download the PDF on carolinabucker.com. The whole book, along with the journal prompts, is a free download. Here's prompt number 1. What is one situation in your life right now that feels uncomfortable or difficult to move forward in? Write about what feels hard, who is involved, and what you are afraid might happen if you take the next step. And I do invite you to write it down. There's a lot of research that shows how our brains connect more pathways toward processing our thoughts when we actually write to paper. Question number 2. What is one area of my life where I am listening to my ego and staying stuck because of fear and familiarity? Describe what the ego is telling you in this area, what feels safe about staying where you are, and what your higher self might be quietly inviting you to consider instead. As a side note on that question, we live in an ego-driven society. So until you get used to discerning the two voices, I invite you to listen to the answers that are fear-based versus the ones that have hope, love, and possibilities. Because society often tells us to be realistic. However, it takes bravery for anyone to step outside of what is comfortable and go beyond that. Number 3, if I listened to my higher self today, what is one leap of faith it would ask me to take? And what is the smallest step I could take toward it? I love this question. I feel like my whole life has always been in that balancing act between taking the big leap and breaking it down, distilling it down to the smallest step that I can take toward it instead of just jumping and doing a running start and jumping into it. So if your dream is perhaps opening a business, what is one thing you can do today that will get you closer? What is one article you can read? One person that you can talk to? What is one skill you can start learning? Chapter 2 is in the next episode. See you there. For those ready to take the first step on their self-love journey, check out the free Self-Love Journey Workbook. 7 actionable steps with journal prompts to restore your heart, build confidence, get unstuck, and unlock your greatest potential. carolinabucker.com.